So it's September, that back to school feeling is in the air, and for many people there are quite a few unknowns at this point in the academic year. Perhaps you've got kids or grandkids who've just started at a new school and they don't know how that's going to turn out. Or maybe they're a bit older and going off to college or uni and they're not sure if they've picked the right place to go or the right course. Or perhaps it's you going back to the classroom. I know I've got two friends who are about to retrain and change career direction, and they're not 100% sure if it's the right thing to do, but they're going to give it their best shot. So what has any of this stuff got to do with alcohol-free living? Well, I just find it fascinating that we're so willing to step into the unknown and try new things and push ourselves in some areas of life, and yet with other things, like quitting drinking, we are much more risk averse. I mean, personally, I wasn't sure that I was capable of quitting drinking, and I wasn't sure what sobriety was going to be like, and so for ages I didn't do anything about my drinking. I just didn't want to deal with the uncertainty and all the unknowns, and I didn't want to risk trying and failing, because that would just be awful, right? However, when someone goes off to university or changes career or has their first day at big school, there is also an incredibly high risk of something going wrong, and there's bucket loads of uncertainty. But in that situation, we all just say, well, you've just got to get on with it. That's just part of the deal. We're so accepting of it. And isn't it interesting how in some situations we are used to taking action and staying committed despite feeling worried and uncertain and scared? And with school stuff, we're much better at seeing the bigger picture. If your child or grandchild came back from their first day at school and said to you that they didn't like it, you probably wouldn't go, oh well, no need to go back then. You're totally going to take them in the next day, because you know that how they feel about school will change with time once they get a bit more settled in. So I just think it's really interesting to think about the number of times that I gave up on sobriety after just one day or 2 days, or because I had a bad day and it seemed hard and I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't have anyone to gently remind me that the first day or the first week or the first month of school and sobriety can be hard, and that it's okay that it feels that way, because it is going to get better. So if you've been watching my videos for any time at all, you'll know that I'm always suggesting people take a proper break from drinking, where you go all in, make that commitment to taking alcohol off the table for a defined period of time. And I always suggest this for two reasons. First of all, it is less overwhelming than trying to quit forever. You want to give your mind something to focus on that you can visualize. But also, when you commit to taking that break, no matter what, you open up space to give it a proper shot. You allow yourself to get over those tricky first few weeks, and you test drive sobriety properly in a way that just won't ever happen if you only stop from Monday to Thursday each week. I normally recommend a 6-week break, because that is a doable goal for most people, especially if you're getting support through something like my Getting Unstuck course. Now, if the idea of a whole 6-week break seems too much to you right now, then I want to invite you to think about the timescales that you would reach for in other areas of life. Perhaps you have retrained or taken a course in something and you weren't sure about it, but you gave it several months or a year or more. If your child was struggling at school, how long would you persevere in the same school with them? Half a term? A whole term? Maybe longer. If you got a big new job, how long would you give that before deciding what you really thought about it? Would you say, oh God, I've been in for 4 days in a row and I've seen all I need to see? Probably not. What about learning to drive? Did you try that a couple of times and think, oh God, I haven't got the hang of this, so I'm probably never going to be a driver? We don't do that elsewhere, and I'd love to see you approaching sobriety with a slightly different mindset. The fact is, we're at the start of a new school year. It is a fresh page, and yes, there are lots of unknowns, but there are lots of opportunities here as well. Maybe it's time to get out of the trap of cutting down or just stopping for a few days here and there. What would happen if you committed to giving sobriety a proper shot and giving it a bit of time and space, perhaps for a whole term or more? You'll learn something no matter what happens. And who knows, by next month or half term or whenever, you might be celebrating a breakthrough you never ever expected. So I'm Kate B. Wherever you're watching this, please scroll down and let me know in the comments, what are you committing to over the next few weeks and possibly months? I'd love to hear about it.